Hello and welcome back to Down the Track. We will be reviewing the fantastic game, the third Test match between England and New Zealand. This England side last year was struggling to draw matches, was losing matches at will, and suddenly, Brendan McCullum comes through. Ben Stokes is the captain, and this complete change around in this England setup. Joe Root is reverse sweeping for sixes, and things are just going fantastically well for England cricket right now, especially at least in the Test format, even in the One Days. But this is a completely revamped side. Musti, your thoughts on this fantastic series win, clean sweep for England against the World Test champions? To be fair to New Zealand,
Baz-Ball, that's the new term going around in the world of cricket. The way Brendan McCullum has the boys playing, I didn't expect it to be so quick, for them to change their style completely. I still feel it's very high risk cricket. There's going to be days where they're going to lose games really badly, but I think if you can chase down scores like this, why not, right? Like, it's okay to lose the odd game here and there. It's entertaining cricket. It's enjoyable and it's effective at the end of the day. And not just their batting, we talk about their batting and everything, but what really surprised me was the bowling as well. Like, the way Leach picked up his 5 wickets. If you notice, they had mid on, mid off up the whole time. Ben Stokes didn't budge. And I heard an interview of Leach yesterday on BBC that he said that, normally we discuss a few things, but there's one thing that he doesn't listen to me is that he doesn't take the fielders out. He keeps mid on, mid off. That's the only thing that Ben Stokes tells him. You can do whatever you want, but I'm not moving mid on, mid off. So just these small things that Ben Stokes and McCullum have brought into the team, it's made a world of difference. Of course, it's not going to work every game, but the likes of, I think, Johnny Bairstow in particular, the way he's relished in this situation. Joe Root, look, it doesn't matter what style you play, he's going to perform. He's a world class player. But like Bairstow, Stokes himself, even Alex Lees, these guys are relishing this kind of style of play, and you can really see it. Even the bowlers are enjoying themselves. I still feel they're missing like an Archer or a Wood, but I felt that they played really well. Again, their test will be against India. I think they can still beat India if they play like this. But the only thing is, India have a different variety in terms of bowling attack. Whereas New Zealand, I felt it was one pronged attack. They would rely too much on swing. Soon as the swing finished, game was over. They had England 55 for 6 in this game. And soon as the swing finished, Bairstow and things smashed it, right? Overton. So I think that's something that New Zealand have to work on. I think they missed Jamieson a lot. With Jamieson there, it might have been a different series. But in a lot of phases, I felt New Zealand were on top and they just let it slip. That's just my summary of the series.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a fair assumption. A fair assumption of the game, because like you said, there were many instances where we felt like New Zealand could, take advantage of the position that they were in, and they let it slip. I think it'll be a little bit disappointing. I think after the World Test Championship, they've really kind of succumbed completely. I mean, they have a couple of wins, but they pretty much kept losing a fair amount of games. And this clean sweep by England will also, be kind of a dampener for them. They this is a side that is usually performs very well. It kind of goes under the radar, but now they've been performing badly. There's problems with Jameson not being available. Kane Williamson's not the same anymore. He's been struggling. Their top order has been struggling a little bit, with Will Young and Tom Latham and not been giving them the starts that they would have liked. They were lucky enough to have Blundell and Mitchell, I think, in this series. But imagine if one of them was not there, this could have been a catastrophe for them. I think something that they have to look into a little bit more.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's you're talking about New
New Zealand,
Zealanders.
yeah.
Yeah, I think 100% they have to look into that for sure. Man, someone scored 300s in 3 matches and you still lost the series. So I think one main thing is that Kane Williamson has not performed. That's a big factor. Openers also, gave a few starts here and there, but more than that is their bowling. I just felt that the bowling in the last 2 Test matches let them down because you have 300 on the board. I think you could have done much better, especially if you look at the first innings in this game. When you have a side 6 down, you need to get them all out for 100, 150. Their batsmen put on 350, 360. Mitchell and Blundell, every game they put on a 100 or 200 run partnership. So I don't think there's too much wrong with the batting. I felt New Zealand batted better than maybe India did in this 2-1 series which is going on. I felt, but the thing is, India won games on their bowling, and bowling is very important. You have to pick up 20 wickets in a Test match. It's the most important thing, and I think that's what New Zealand didn't do. One major other thing was, I don't know if you mentioned this, sorry, but spinner. They should have gone with Ejaz Patel 100%. So there's two things to it. One thing is he's more experienced. The second thing is there's more right-handed batsmen in that England lineup and aggressive who are going to hit, like a Bairstow is there, and then even like Root to a certain extent. You don't want the ball coming in; you want the ball going away to these guys. Yeah, you have Ben Stokes, but for someone Ben Stokes, you can try Williamson if needed or whatever. You have a couple of left-handers here and there, but for your right-handed batsman, you need to have a bowler taking the ball away, and the ball was turning. You saw what Leach did. I think Ajaz Patel was well capable of that. I rate Ajaz Patel higher than Jack Leach. That's just my personal opinion. I think they got selection completely wrong, and it's the bowling which I'm critical of. Batting wise, I felt that Williamson was not in form, but Mitchell made up for it, man. To be very honest with you.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assumption. I think bowling wise, I think after Sadi didn't have the best of tournaments. I think Bolt was decent enough, but the
Yeah,
third bowler was.
belted a few times.
Yeah,
Him and Burst were having a bit of banter today as well.
yeah, I think the third bowler was a big problem as well. With Jameson after the first game when he got
Jameson,
injured, and then Neil Wagner was really not able to come back. And I think Neil Wagner is kind of, you can
which is
see signs of
surprising.
him. Yeah, you can see signs of him probably past his prime. I think he's starting to have these injury
Yeah,
niggles and stuff like that. I think Bracewell has barely bowled. I think he got
that was
tossed
the key
around by.
factor.
Yeah, that was I think a very very important factor. I think Ayaz Patel, like you said, could have been a little bit better. But I think just a lot of thinking to do for New Zealand. I think just kind of go back to the drawing board a little bit. Just
Batting
get
wise,
that.
I would say discipline, like runouts and like throwing wickets away. That's something that I have to focus on because after you have such good start or a good partnership, they threw away a lot of wickets here and there throughout the series.
Yeah, I think just get back to the basics. Try to start off with a proper 11. Get your combination right, and then stick to the basics of the basic discipline. And I think that this is a better side than it has been portrayed in the past series. So hopefully more to come from them for sure. But I think again going back to England a little bit, I think after the debacle year kind of for them, they've kind of really struggled with getting victories under their belt and so on and so forth. I think this has been a fantastic revelation. I think that and how passionate the English fans are. I think that this will be good for them to kind of take into the Test match now against India, which is going to be a big game for both teams.
Yeah, 100%, 100%, and this will give them a lot of confidence, and I think it will send some shivers down India's spine because we'll get into this closer to the game on Thursday, but I just feel that the way they're playing, it'll give India some hope as well in terms of aggressive cricket. But now India will they'll have if they're batting first, they'll have to look to set a target of 400 plus because anything in that 300 range, they're smashing it down, right? So it's something that India will have to look at. India have their own strengths as well, so England will be aware of that. But the way England are playing right now, it is intimidating cricket, and that's what they're doing in white ball. I still feel like conditions wise, they have to be a bit careful. 50 for 6, you're playing against another team, maybe in Australia. Australia rattle you for 80, 90 there. They're not letting you get to 260 or 300. Sorry, they're not gonna let you get to that. They're not giving you a lead in that match. So at times England will have to be careful. My most important thing is is there going to be a plan B? Because in this game it was 50 for 6 at tea. Everybody was saying this is the side effects of Baz-Ball, but then Bairstow played the same way and they still got the lead. So I don't think they're going to change the way they play. To be
Yeah,
very honest with you,
yeah,
it's just how do they cope mentally? That's the most important thing. Because this game has showed them that listen, even if we're 20 for 8. We're still going to play this way and we can win. And that's exactly what happened. So I don't think they're going to change their style. It's just mentally how do they cope with tough challenges going forward. And bowling wise as well, I think Potts was magnificent in this match in particular and this series. He was so good. Anderson and Broad, of course, they were at it as well. And
what about
Leach.
Jamie Overton?
Jamie Overton, outstanding. Jamie Overton, outstanding. I didn't know he was a twin brother until
I
the
had no
toss.
idea as well. That was like
Like I shouldn't
after
be
the
saying
first
this
day. Yeah,
because I've seen them play. Now I realize why. Like because even in county cricket, when I used to see him, now I know that was his brother. It was him. It wasn't his brother Craig. And I always used to rate this guy Overton. I said, bro, watch out for him. He's good fast bowler and stuff. But I was talking about this guy. But when I saw Craig Overton, I'm like, he's lacking a bit of pace. It's this brother who has more of the pace.
he's a
If you
little
notice,
bulkier as well. If you notice, like
bulkier
a
as
little
well.
bit more
So
on the chest and
yeah,
stuff like that.
that's
So
a bad mistake on my part, but it happens. We can't like you have to put your hand up at times. But he was very impressive, and the
the
way he batted, man,
exactly 97. Poor guy missed out on a century, and on
missed out
debut a
on.
century would have been quite fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, world class performance on debut, world class debut performance. If there's such thing like that, with the bat, with the ball, he was outstanding. And I think remember Robinson last year, and then now they have Overton. England do produce these kind of players in home conditions. Now their biggest challenge is when they go abroad. I think is Bairstow going to come out to Ashwin in in Eden Gardens, or
Indian
in
Gardens.
where
Yeah,
is it in Gujarat, where it turns from ball one? Is he going to do that? So that's going to be their test as well. But like for now, I think it's working. It's a breath of fresh air. I'm enjoying this series. I'm telling you, it was 3-0, but it was one of the most enjoyable series I think since the last India England series last summer. It was a really good series to watch, and I don't think I've never seen such an entertaining whitewash, because New Zealand played their part. I told you, in every single stage they should have won each game, but they just let go of things. They let it slip, and I think that comes down more to bowling and a bit of indiscipline with the batting.
I think that's fair. I think yeah, I think that wraps it up. Your man of the series. I have a interesting kind of punter prediction for this one.
You have an interesting one for them. I'm going Johnny Bairstow. Like you could go Joe Root as well. I'm just going Johnny Bairstow because that innings he played, I think that sealed the series. It was a series-defining one, and then and then today, today, and then 2 days ago,
Yeah,
the innings that he's playing, 50
absolutely.
for six. Him and Overton put that partnership. For me, Johnny Bairstow without a doubt. I wish he was still a Sunrisers player. I love this guy. Batting style wise, I'm much more of a Butler fan, but I just Johnny Bairstow excites me. And one thing today that I noticed as well, running between the wickets, he's a beast, man. He was pulling Joe Root for double, single, so it's not just the big hitting. He's really good, sharp between the wickets. So yeah, Johnny Bairstow for me without a doubt.
Yeah, I have a prediction that will get punter happy because I'm gonna go with Daryl Mitchell. I
Yeah,
think it's
fair enough.
been yeah.
Fair enough.
Even I think he was a lone man standing for a team that was quite quite poor in patches and quite
He kept them
decent in
competitive.
patches. But yeah, because if not for those 500 runs from Daryl Mitchell, I think this would have been a complete, like, it would have been a whitewash even worse than what it was already. So I think credit given where it's due. He was not going to start the series. Everyone, you keep forgetting that in the first game
Yeah,
of the series, he came in for an injured Henry Nichols, I think, at the time. So uh, that says a lot about the character of the man, and I think he's now cemented his number five as his position for some time at least. So
yeah.
good to see that. Yeah, I think that wraps it up. A quick word on the India Ireland game. It was a shortened match, obviously, but your thoughts on that game, and before we call it a day.
That was, it reminded me of my high school ground, man. Every ball was going for
Short.
six. Yeah, but I think yeah, India dominated. For me, with the ball, Yuzvendra Chahal was outstanding, deservedly man of the match. He didn't let he didn't let it slip the match. Bhuvneshwar Kumar was brilliant, but after that Bhuvi spell, Umran Malik got tonked a bit. Hardik Pandya got tonked a bit. What was his name? It wasn't Tucker. It was the other guy. He batted superbly, bro, for Ireland. Even Hardik
Tucker,
Pandya,
right?
huh?
Wasn't it? Wait. Uh,
No,
I have the
it
screen in
wasn't
front.
Tucker, but I can tell you his name right now. Just give me 30 seconds. His name was Tector.
Tector.
Tucker was the other guy. So
Yeah.
Harry Tector, he was outstanding. The way he hit Malik for a six, the way he Hardik Pandya for the six, he was very severe on the short ball.
Yeah. 64
Excellent.
of 33. Pretty
Yeah,
good stuff.
brilliant
Yeah.
batting. He was outstanding. He kept Ireland in the game. But that start when you lose 3 wickets in the power play, it makes it difficult. Bhuvneshwar Kumar, what a swing bowling performance, man. He's bowling test match lines and lengths, and I feel he should be in Birmingham right now, not in Ireland. The way he was bowling, outstanding. Really good to see that. From batting perspective, Ishan Kishan was explosive. Hardik Pandya was explosive. Deepak Hooda took a bit of time. Makeshift opener. I think Gaikwad had a niggle. He had some injury. That's why, what's his name? Deepak Hooda went to open. It took a bit of time. He wasn't as fluent, but he played really well. And it goes to show that, he didn't play the South Africa series, but it was a deserved chance here against Ireland. Um, and he batted really well. I would just say Umran Malik, 1 over. I want to see him in the next game. I have no problem. He gets hit. I expect him to get hit at times, even in Australia. Look. I've never said that he should go for the World Cup and start. Like maybe as a squad player, he needs to be groomed. He's only 22 years old. Pace will be used. It's a small ground as well, but he is something special. So just keep belief in him. That's all I would say.
Yeah, I think I agree 100%. But I think there is no doubt about Imran Malik's talent. I think it's just a matter of grooming him well. But I have a question for you. In the discussion of Shreyas Iyer, Surya Kumar Yadav, Rishabh Pant, Ishan Kishan, a certain Deepak Huda is quietly but surely putting his name in that list. There is going to be only one or two maximum players amongst that list of five, six that I just mentioned,
Hmm.
because pretty much everything else is kind of sorted. And I think Surya Kumar probably has an upper hand because of his performances lately.
Hmm.
But I think that's going to be an interesting conversation. I think Deepak Huda should not be written off. Maybe he still has an outside chance because he's a little bit newer to the scene compared to like maybe a Pant or a Ishan Kishan or
Uh,
a
yeah.
Shreyas Iyer as well. But he's definitely putting in the scores whenever they get called upon.
Yeah, I honestly would keep Deepak Hooda in the squad over Shreyas Iyer. I would not take Shreyas Iyer. I would take Deepak Hooda because he provides with the ball as well. Again, you're playing in Australia, so you might not need much from him, but one over in the power play might help you, right? If this was UAE, then Deepak Hooda for sure. I would even start him. But I think I would keep Deepak Hooda, like you said, like he's been knocking on the door for a long time. He hasn't gotten the chances. It's good to see him play. But yeah, I think because he gives you with the ball as well, he adds that factor. But Surya Kumar is just an outstanding batsman, and he's had a really good year. So I'm going to back Surya Kumar till the end of the World Cup, and then after the World Cup, you can see if it's not working, then Deepak Hooda takes that spot because he provides with the thing. And you can also always consider him in that Jadeja role as well. You can consider him there. Yes, Jadeja gives you 4 overs, but in T20s, I've noticed Jadeja, like in CSK, he was bowling 1 or 2 overs. I don't know if that was a problem with one or this and that, but Jadeja is not as effective. So if Deepak Hooda is giving me the same thing, then why not play him as a finisher there as well, or play him in Jadeja's role? You have that option in the future. But for now, I would keep him as a squad player and give him as many chances whenever it is possible, and keep him as a utility player.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a good shot for him. I think.
But Ishan Kishan, bro, Ishan Kishan is making some headways. Like I
I think
still don't
he's
know
he's
how
almost confirmed his
I
spot
don't
as
know
a
how,
backup
bro. I
opener.
don't know how he's going to fit. There has to be an injury for him
No,
to
I think
play.
he'll be the backup opener and the backup wicketkeeper. I think he might take a. It's going to be between him, Punt, Shreyas Iyer for two spots, right? Because if Sky makes the 11, then it's between these three guys for two spots.
Okay,
So one
yeah.
of them
Then
will miss out.
maybe he gets the backup opener slot. He's not getting the wicketkeeper slot because after Pant there's Dinesh Karthik, who's
Yeah,
front.
so that's what I'm saying. So Punt, I think for me personally, I think Punt is definitely there in that team.
Yeah,
It's
so
between Shreyas and Ishan for the second spot, and I think Deepak Hooda will unfortunately miss out as
yeah,
well.
yeah. I think Ishan Kishan
Because
there.
then you need a spinner and a fast bowler as well, and that's probably going to be like Ashwin and or Kuldeep and
Yeah.
fast bowler in either Harshal or Umran Malik if you
Ashok
go with that.
Patel, yeah, he didn't play as well. He's also there in the mix. Yeah, I think of in that way.
There's going to be a few upset people. Avish Khan's probably not going to make it as well, so
Yeah.
he might be a little upset. So there's a few people that will be upset.
But
But
Don,
let's
I'll
see
tell
how.
you one thing. I'll tell you just one thing. Like before we wrap up, is that now you have the England T20s and you have the West Indies T20s. I think it's the high time you have to play the 11 that you're going to play in the World Cup.
100%, hundred
You
percent,
have
no
to,
doubt about it.
because what's
Even
going to
the
happen
Asia Cup.
is then if these guys are going to continue to play, imagine they start winning in England. Then how do you drop them?
Yeah, exactly. No, I think
And if
I
you
mean
want to go that way, I'm completely fine with it. But I'm saying the guys who are going to play consistently, I think that has to be your 80% of your 90% of your squad. You can only make 1 or 2 changes after.
yeah, I agree.
Even
I
that
think
is risky, but
I,
that's what I would
I
do.
think starting July into the Asia Cup, into the tour against West Indies, I think your top team has to play.
The top team has to play. And for me, the England series, you have to play your top team because that's the best team you're going
Yeah,
to be up
yeah,
against in the World Cup.
yeah. I agree 100%. I think they can probably rest them against West Indies if needed, but I think they
Maybe a
need
couple of
to.
games here and there, but yeah,
Yeah,
play as much as possible. Yeah.
I agree. Yep, I think but that's going to be it's a kind of a packed schedule, so just kind of manage the workload. But at the same time, I think you have to maybe give them a rest in the one days and then play them in the T20s. Play them
Yeah.
in the Test series and the T20s. We'll kind of see how that plays out. But that wraps it up. I think more on the India England game on Thursday. But until then, I think we're kind of
Yeah.
calling it a day for today. But I think if there's anything else that you want to add last minute.
No, I think enjoy the game tomorrow. India Ireland second T20. We'll catch you after that. And yeah, man, can't wait for this week of cricket when the test match starts as well. Really excited. So I'll catch you for that as well.
100% looking forward to it, man. Take care.
Take care, man. Thank you.